Currently, only staff can participate in the conference call. To begin speaking to the attorneys, to click Start Broadcast. Keep. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fire this puppy up. All right.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Todd Lewandowski, one of the marketing advisors here at Haley Marketing. And with us also today is Matt Faso, our other marketing advisor at Haley Marketing. I want to welcome everybody to the first in our series of our client-only exclusive Lunch with Haley seminars. It's going to be a little bit different from our normal Lunch with Haley webinars. It's going to be a little bit shorter, but I still think you're going to find some really good take-home value. Plan on doing a couple of these a quarter. That said, if there are any topics that you are interested in, you'd like us to feature on a future webinar, please either contact myself or Matt, whoever you work with, and we'll be happy to put that into the mix. So like I said, we'll be doing a couple of these every quarter. And this is our first one on top candidate mailings and how it can help you get job orders now. Just bear with me for 1 second. There we go. All right. So really quickly, just want to run down what today's agenda is going to be for the call. We're going to kind of cover the why, the what, and the how. First of all, we're going to talk about why top candidate mailing should be a part of your marketing. Then we're going to take a look at what's working for our clients who are currently doing top candidate mailings, the different ways that you can feature your top candidates through Haley Mail. And then finally, we're going to talk about some of the hows, the do's and the don'ts of writing some great top candidate descriptions. So first, we're going to talk about why do you need top candidate marketing. And as most of you who are our Haley Mail clients are probably familiar with the term relationship marketing. In fact, it's what we do with Haley Mail. It's the basis of relationship marketing. Relationship marketing isn't really intended necessarily to get the phone to ring off the hook. We don't use a really strong sales pitch in relationship marketing, but what it does is it builds a relationship with your clients, with your prospects, and with your candidates over time. It's placing you top of mind at the very least once a month when you send out your monthly newsletters. It's getting your name in front of the person. They're used to seeing your name, your company logo. They're also used to all the really great information that you're sending them each month. So that even if they're not ready to purchase right now when you send them a newsletter, down the road, chances are that they're going to remember you because of all the great content that you've been sending. Now, on the other side of that, we've got the immediate impact type of mailings, and top candidates is the perfect example of that. There's a strong call to action in top candidate mailings. Here's some of the cream of the crop talent that we have available. Click here or call us to find out more about this candidate. So it elicits an immediate response from the people that you're sending it to.
Yeah, Todd, the other thing it does is it shows your candidates that you're working for them. Not only does it show them that you're working for them, but you actually, are working for them, and you're doing what you should be doing as a staffing company is trying to place these candidates. You want them to think of you as their job agent. And again, what this just does is show your candidates that you've got that commitment and you're out there trying to get them the best job possible.
Great point, Matt. Just want to take a second, too, just to remind everybody, on the right-hand side of the GoToWebinar interface, there's a section for chat. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, just type them in that chat, and when we get to the end of the presentation, we'll take care of answering all those questions as best we can. Wanted to share a couple of success stories. Clients are always asking us, what are your other clients doing? What kind of results are they seeing? The first one here is from a client out in California, and it's probably one of the best success stories that we've ever had with a top candidate mailing. The very first top candidate mailing that they sent out, they received a job order for a $135,000 position. Now, this more than paid for their marketing for the entire year, not just for that top candidate mailing, but for their entire marketing program for the entire year. And now they have made this a regular part of their marketing. They've been doing that for about 2 years now. And I think, Matt, you've got a couple other really good success stories, too.
I do, and the last one that Todd shared was, obviously a great success story. The next two are kind of more typical of the results that our clients get. But the great thing is that, especially these two clients that I'm featuring in the next two slides, they get these type of results pretty much every time they send out a top candidates mailing. The one you're looking at right now is from a client of mine in Syracuse, New York. They sent out a very targeted top candidate mailing to 30 companies that do CNC, and they got a call back from a client they'd never worked with before. They wanted to set up interviews. There was only one of the candidates left. They set up the interview, and the candidate was offered and accepted the position that same day. And just what this shows is the power of top candidate marketing, how it can be a sales tool and really pull orders through your system and stimulate demand for your candidates. The next one is from another one of my clients, and the testimonial here, she actually sent this to me a couple weeks ago when I was talking to her about her top candidate mailing. She said, we generally bring in at least 2 new orders each time they're sent out. Then the last time they did, they sent out, featured some of their technical people, and they had 4 orders. And this really shows how effective it is at converting prospects to clients by highlighting your talent pool. This last top candidate mailing they went to, they had the 4 orders all from new clients. So that's really a great way to showcase your talent to companies that you don't currently work with.
Yeah, those are both great examples, Matt. And really, all of our clients who are doing top candidates on a regular basis are seeing very similar results. I had a client in South Carolina that I spoke to over the summer, and they had been doing regular top candidates mailing for about a year. And in looking at their HaleyMail stats, I noticed that their click-throughs weren't great. So I was a little concerned that they weren't getting good results. But when I spoke with them, they said, without a doubt, that every single top candidate mailing they sent out, one of those candidates were hired. So, even though the stats didn't look great, they were getting great results from those mailings.
That's a great point, Todd. And that was the reason the client that I was talking about on this particular slide, that's the reason I checked in with her, because they were sending one every month and their stats weren't looking too great, so I just wanted to check in with her and see how the program was going, and she let me know that they get 1 to 2 every single time they send out a top candidate mailing. And actually they said that their clients, if they come later in the month, the clients actually ask them because they've been looking forward to them.
That's great. Yeah, and Matt's going to talk a little bit later about how to use your HaleyMail reports to do some follow-up on these top candidate mailings. Okay, so we've talked about why top candidates, why you need to do them. Now let's take a look at how our clients are actually doing the top candidate mailings. One way that we can do a top candidate is within your monthly newsletter. This is a client who does a branded version of our HaleyMail program, and what we do is we include their top candidates right in the monthly mailings. So they'll send me all their top candidates, short descriptions of each of them. I'll put them onto a separate landing page, very similar to like we do for the monthly articles, and then I will include those in their monthly mailing. So you see this section over here on the right-hand side for their top candidate mailings. There's a couple other ways that we can do top candidate mailings as well.
First one you're looking at here is a top candidate instant mail. This is where we take the top candidates, we put them in an email that's dedicated just to those top candidates. Now, the instance that you're looking at right now is one where we would have the top candidates listed on a landing page, similar to the way the previous email was, where you click through to see the top candidates. But we also do a format that's similar to this, where you'd actually list the attributes of the top candidates right in the email there. And depending on your program, all of our clients have the ability to do top candidate emails. But depending on your program, there might be price differences in having Todd or I set it up for you. But all clients have the ability to set them up and send them out themselves for free. Todd and I would be happy to train you on how to do that. And again, with one of those ones that you'd set up yourself, you'd have the descriptions of the candidates right here in the email. So there's nothing for the client to click through. To click through to. And a little bit later on, we'll talk about how to actually write those candidate descriptions for these mailings.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Finally, a way that we can send out top candidates is really taking the standalone email and taking it to the next level. This is a client of mine who actually branded their top candidates. They call them the Select. And what they did was they positioned it so as the recipient of the emails thought that they were getting the first crack at those candidates, that these were the cream of the crop talent that were available. And so we came up with a name, the Select, came up with a logo, and sent it out once a month. So it made your recipients feel special, like they were going to get the first crack. And even though this is probably being sent to about 1,000 people, it made them feel special because they were getting the first look at these really high value candidates.
Yeah, and social media is a great way to get visibility for your top candidates as well. And one best practice I wanted to talk about here is, and this is not just for social media, but for all top candidate marketing, is to make sure you don't use your candidates' full names. First off, this is so that your clients can't go around you and contact candidates themselves. And secondly, particularly in social media, which is visible to everyone, not like an email which may be targeted to specific clients or prospects. You don't want to get candidates fired if they're currently employed. Obviously, you don't want to be identifying them by their full name. And again, social media is another good way to show your candidates that you're working for them, especially on Facebook, which is very visible to candidates.
Yeah, that's a great point, Matt. And today's focus is mostly on top candidates, but these same practices can really be put into place for a hot jobs mailing as well if you wanted to send that out to candidates. Really, essentially the same thing, just a listing of the top positions that you have available that you can send out to your candidates. And social media is a great place to highlight those as well. You might pick a job of the week and post it into Facebook because, as we're finding, that Facebook is certainly more candidate-driven. But like Matt was talking about earlier about showing your candidates that you really want to work for them, also include the top candidates in them, because then that just shows that to candidates, but then also include some of your top jobs that are available as well. All right, so we've talked about now what our clients are doing. Now let's just take a little bit of time to talk about some of the do's and don'ts, how to put together a good top candidate mailing. When I talk to my clients initially about doing a top candidate mailing, I always say kind of go into used car salesman mode. You really want to sell these candidates. These should not be the quote-unquote dime a dozen type of candidates. These should be the top talent that you have available, and you really want to sell them as that. I've had clients who've sent me candidate descriptions that'll just say, person types 70 words per minute, has a great track record, 5 years experience as an admin. And I kick it back to them and I say, no, you have to do better. These should not just be the dime of the dozen type of candidate. These should really be the top people that you have available. Why are they great? What's their experience? Do they have certain traits that really make them stand out? So that's what you want to do. When we talk about the number of candidates, really we kind of want to limit to between 5 and 10 candidates, and really about a paragraph for each. You don't have to include their entire resume. You don't have to get very involved, because what you want to do is you want to basically tease them just enough so that your recipients will contact you for more information.
That's a good point, Todd. It kind of leaves it up to the recruiter or the sales rep to, once they get some interest from the client, to really sell that candidate. And one thing that I wanted to mention on this slide is, again, this is just piggybacking on what Todd said, but make sure to highlight the best points of your candidates. I get a lot of top candidate descriptions where I have a client list the candidate's best skill as their punctuality. Now, certainly that's something that can be useful, but for anything besides, warehouse workers, you're really hoping to have something more than that. So either make sure that you're finding out the best skills of this candidate, or maybe you need to, maybe if that's really the best thing you can find out about a certain candidate, you need to look harder and have some better candidates to highlight. On to this next one. Another kind of best practice is include a mail-to link in each one of your descriptions. And in this way, if you send out a top candidate email, you can have a mail-to link go back to the specific recruiter that's working with each candidate. And again, this is just a small thing that makes it as easy as possible for a recipient of the email to be able to discuss the candidate they're interested in with you. And if you don't know how to set up a mail-to link, you can talk to either Todd or I after this webinar. We'd be happy to show you how to do that.
Great, thanks, Matt. Another innovation that we've seen probably just in the past 6 to 12 months with top candidate mailings is using video. There's a program called Vype that we actually partner with, and they make doing online videos very simple. You can, I believe now, even use your iPhone to record video of candidates, and the candidates can then speak about themselves and really puts a nice face with these top candidates. It makes it a little more human, a little more personal. Just a simple, 30-second to a minute video. You can give them a little bit of a script. You can ask them questions, like the one you see here, what are your top 2 strengths? But it really just kind of takes that top candidates to another level. Like I mentioned, we do partner with Vype. if you are interested in doing some video or working with VIPE, you can always contact Matt or myself, and we'll get you in touch with everybody at VIPE. But it's kind of the next level of top candidate mailings that's coming.
And what you're looking at here is what can be one of your most powerful tools. With all of you being HaleyMail clients, you've got access, and you can use these open and click the reports in HaleyMail to do follow-ups after a top candidate mailing goes out. Now, hopefully, this isn't new to you. Hopefully, you've talked to either Todd or myself. You know how to access these reports. We've told you the best way to follow up here. But you know, anybody who opened up a top candidate email or clicked on a link in the top candidate email is probably interested in hiring and is a really good prospect. So even if you know, they didn't happen to contact you about any of the candidates that you featured in the actual marketing, you know that they're interested in hiring. So that's a really good opportunity to give them a call, find out what exactly they're looking for in a candidate, and be able to find somebody who's going to be able to fill that need for them. So again, and anybody who shows up on one of these reports after you send out an email is just a really good prospect. And again, your sales reps will kind of appreciate these as well, especially if they're making cold calls. This is a really good way to start a much better conversation.
Yeah, and if you haven't gone through the reports function or just need a refresher or just want to have your sales team sit in, just contact Matt or myself. We'd be happy to take you through the reports function again. All right. Oops, went one too further. The final do's and don'ts that we want to talk about is Grammar 101. And we don't mean to be nitpicky here, but we have a full team of proofreaders here on staff, and every time that you send us a top candidate mailing, we send it through multiple levels of proofing. And just wanted to quickly go through some of the more common mistakes that we see. Number one is we live in the U.S., not the us. U.S. is always have periods after each letter. Another common one is people will say knowledge with QuickBooks or knowledge with Outlook. It really should be knowledge in QuickBooks or knowledge in accounting or knowledge in distribution centers. It's kind of going along the same lines. Responsible for, not responsible to. So it should be responsible for organizing, editing, scheduling, not responsible to edit, schedule. In keeping with that, we want to make sure you keep the same tense. We will sometimes get top candidate mailings that will say this person was responsible for development, editing, and composition. Tenses are kind of all over the place. If you start in the past tense, stay in the past tense. There's really no right or wrong in terms of whether you should speak in the past tense or the current tense, but just make sure that once you start, you finish in that tense. So instead of development, editing, and composition, it should be developing, editing, and composing. And the final tip that we'll give is with hyphens. One of our proofreaders, Amy here, is an expert on hyphens, and I don't pretend to be, but Amy is, and she taught me about compound modifiers the other day. And basically what that means is when you are saying that somebody is seeking full-time employment, full-time is hyphenated. When you are saying somebody has worked full-time for X number of years, full-time is not hyphenated. I don't claim to be a grammar expert, so I'm not going to explain it any further than that, but that seems to be the best example that I can give.
And Todd, I just wanted to say something real quick on the proofreading here. You know, as Todd mentioned, we put them through a couple levels of proofreading. So hopefully we'll catch any mistakes that are in there. But the less mistakes that they come over to us, and you know, and the less basically rewriting we have to do, you know, the better chance there is of them going out basically representing you the best way. Because the more changing, more editing we have to do, the more opportunity there is for a mistake in there to get through.
Yeah, definitely a great point, Matt. Well, we've come to the end. We do have one question that came through. If you do have any questions, you can use that chat function or the questions function on the right-hand side of your GoToWebinar interface. But the one question that did come in says, is this tactic more successful for direct hire positions or temp positions? Matt, I'm not sure what you've seen with your clients, but for me, definitely both. They're really it really works well for both. I have clients who will send out one top candidate that will have everything from just an entry-level admin person to a executive level person. So it really, I have not seen any difference really in the two.
Yeah, I've seen it work for both. The one thing I would say is that usually with a direct hire candidate, usually that's a higher level candidate. So sometimes you're going to have somebody that's got more marketable skills. So just a lot of times that's a higher level candidate, and again, it's probably going to result in a higher placement fee as well.
Yeah, great point. Well, that brings us to the end. Like I said, we're going to keep these fairly short to about 15 to 30 minutes each time we do one of these. Again, if you have any topics that you wanted us to feature in future webinars, please just contact Matt or myself, and we'd be happy to discuss those with you. Also, don't forget about our regular Lunch with Haley webinar program. The 2012 schedule is in process, and I believe the first couple are in there already. If you go to lunchwithhaley.com, you can sign up for any of those ones that are up there already, and as always, they are free, and we really enjoy bringing those to you. So if you have any other additional questions on top candidate mailings that you didn't want to bring up here, please just contact Matt or myself. We'd be happy to help you put together some top candidate mailings, and I think you're really going to see some great success. So just want to thank everybody again, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.